$240 million. What in the actual hell? Are American progressives, are they brain dead? That's the question of this live stream. We want to establish whether American progressives are brain dead or are they playing games. $240 million is a lot of money. Let me explain. This is the Debate Me channel. Debate me in the comment section below. This is your non-partisan political source. We're not here for the tribes. We're not here for the enlightened centrists or the right wing or the left wing. We're the truth wing, right? And we look at things objectively. And I am the most disloyal person on this platform. I'm not part of any tribe. I'm not trying to make friends. I'm not trying to say things you want to hear. I'm here to tell you the truth. And in this episode, we want to know, are progressives brain dead or are they playing games? Let me explain. So, I was watching a video from the Humanist Report, and he was talking about how dumb the Democrats are for not learning from Mandami. I always mix his name up, I apologize. The new New York City mayoral candidate that is, everybody's going crazy about right now. The question is, he did something that apparently worked. So why is it that the Democrats are not picking up on his strategies, not embracing him, and not going in the direction that he went that actually got him the wins that he got? But I say again, $240 million. $240 million. We're going to be talking about what exactly that means in just a second. I see someone just joined in. As you join, go ahead and click on the like button so other people can see the live stream, so they can hear the truth, not the partisan nonsense that you get from partisan media, which we don't support over here. I believe, partisan media serves a purpose. Just based on, this is what we have in this country. Our media is horrible. Mainstream media is horrible. Independent media is even worse. But, these same progressive channels that I am going to go in on, they do serve a purpose. They do have a lot of good information and educating people and open their eyes to certain things. But there's also some really serious problems with them as well. And one of the examples of that is this whole idea that the Democrats are stupid and they don't know how to win and they don't want to win and look at what this new guy came and he's doing so great and they don't want to endorse him. They're so dumb. What's wrong with these Democrats? They're so dumb. Okay, so let's knock the nonsense out of here. Out of here. When I started this live stream, I said, oh man, these goddamn flies, I'm gonna go crazy. You're not about to bite me. They bite me the other day and I got these bumps because they're nasty. Biting me, putting their bacteria on my legs, man. I gotta remember to put my bug spray, man. Living out here in the nature. So anyway, $240 million, I said at the beginning of this video. What in the hell am I talking about? I'm gonna tell you what I'm talking about. Nancy Pelosi. Listen, I want you to pay close attention, right? So once again, let's start with the premise that Democrats are dumb. They don't know how to win. Don't you see what Mandami's doing? Why don't you follow what he's doing? And this is what the voters want. All right. So I'm going to tell you how much money, the net worth of top Democrats and how long they've been in office. And you tell me on what logic is your basis that they're losing and they don't know what they're doing. Nancy Pelosi, $240 million, 37 years. 37 years. She's been making big money for longer than most of you have been alive. Tell me she's stupid and she doesn't know how to win. She's been winning for 37 years. The problem is you don't know what she's trying to do and what she's all about. You got this fantasy in your mind that you're getting from Humanist Report, the Young Turks, about what they're about. These people, there's what they're supposed to be, and then there's what they are, right? What they are is just workers. They're doing a job, right? And the goal of any worker is to keep your job and to make money to support your lifestyle That's what they are. That's what they do. And they are excellent at it. And they are winning way more than any of us. They're winning more than me. It's not about how much money they make or what their net worth is. I never seen no, man, if I could get 5 years at one company making good money, that is a win for me. 37 years. I mean, if I could be anywhere near Nancy Pelosi's age and still able to make decent money, that's the next thing. Even if, I get into a nice trend, let's say I get a nice job and it's 10 to 15 years at the same company, once I hit 70, 80, I ain't gonna be making good money like I would make when I'm younger, right? But these Democrats, they do it. It's not just Democrats, by the way. We're not hearing on the bullshit. You got the far left people. Everything is Democrats suck, or the right wing Democrats suck. But I heard some bullshit, and I'm calling it out. This idea that Democrats are stupid. Let's go on down the list. You got Senator Mark Warner. 16 years he's been winning. $242 million. That's winning. How is he losing? How is he stupid? He's getting accomplished exactly what he's there to accomplish. Now, that's not what he's supposed to be there for. He's supposed to be serving us. But that's not what he's doing. That's not what the Democrats are doing. So why does progressive media act like that's what they're there for? They're there for us. And if that's your framing, if that's what you believe, then yeah, they are acting stupid. But that's not the reality. They're doing what most workers do, focusing on themselves, their income, their lifestyle. That's what they're all about. They're not about you and me. That's what it's supposed to be, but they're not, and it's obvious. So why does progressive media act otherwise? Like as if they just don't get it. They do get it. They know what they're doing, and it's working. They win every election. All the major Democrats, they win every election. 2024, did Pelosi lose? Did AOC lose? Which major Democrat lost in 2024? They didn't lose. They won. Money matters more than the party GR. That is absolutely correct. Let's go down the list. So we did Mark Warner, $242 million, 16 years. We got 28 years, John Kerry, 28 years, $100 to $200 million net worth. Tell me that's losing. How is that losing? How is it working for 28 years with great health care, great retirement benefits, power, influence, and you making 170,000, whatever, you got 100 to 200 million dollars, and then a humanist report, and these clowns in progressive media talking about, oh, these Democrats, they're so dumb. Why the hell would they want to do what Mandami's doing? Why would they want to do what he's doing? You only want to do what he's doing if you're actually concerned about the people, right? Doing what he's doing, that's hard work. Trying to do something different, it might fail, and then you're gonna take the political damage from it, right? Who want to do that? It's better to play games, act like you care, put out progressive rhetoric, and yeah, we gotta fight, and Trump is bad, whatever, right? That is better. Like right now, the Democrats are set up for a win, not the voters, but the party. They are set up for a win. All this craziness that Trump is doing, like you guys, like that, you see, when you don't understand what's actually the game that's being played, then people say, look at in this moment right now, right? Look at what Trump is doing to the country, and why aren't these Democrats fighting? Why would they be fighting, right? How does that benefit them to fight, right? Now, obviously, if you're some minor, new person to the party or whatever like that, that's different. But I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the party establishment, right? The leaders of the party. They don't got to do no fighting. All they got to do is the rhetoric, right? Pander to their base enough, because ultimately, you could talk all you want about Democrats this and they're horrible, whatever. When the election comes and they got an option between, I apologize. When you got an option between Donald Trump and the Democrats, their base is going to choose Democrats, right? So as long as they just stay long enough saying the right words, yeah, this and Trump is this, and this is a democracy, and democracy dies in the dark, and the American people and healthcare, right? As long as you say that stuff so that people feel like you're on their team, so you got morons like Humanist Report and these other progressive channels that'll be sitting there trying to be like, guys, listen, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do, because they actually believe that these Democrats actually care about us and they're not focused on themselves. Like, come on, man. If they want to continue winning, what they're doing right now is the exact thing to do. Rhetoric, rhetoric, rhetoric. Don't really fight too much. Make it look like you're fighting. Next election, you are almost guaranteed to win. Now, obviously, trying to get a president in, that's the thing. People like the president is the whole thing. Now, the way they're going right now, the Democrats might not win the presidency, right? But that's just one. That's like two people, a president and a vice president. Right? We're talking about a party of hundreds and hundreds of people. Hundreds and hundreds of people. They're not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere. The next election, they're not going anywhere. AOC ain't going nowhere. Pelosi ain't going nowhere. These people will die in office. Tell me they don't know how to win. Tell me they don't know what they're doing. Let's go down the list. Who else is on the list? Dianne Feinstein. I think she just died. $170 million. 31 years she's been winning. Feinstein has been winning for 31 years. She knows what she's doing. They know what they're doing. These goddamn flies know what they're doing on my legs. What else? Who else is on the list? Let's go down to Richard Blumenthal. Richard Blumenthal, $70 million, 14 years he's been winning. He knows what he's doing. He's not a fool. He knows what he's doing. What he's doing is working. He's putting money in his pocket. He's taking care of his family. He's building his legacy. He's good. We're the ones that are losing. It's not them. It's us. They know what they're doing because what they're doing is working. What we're doing isn't working. The way that we vote is not working. If all you do is vote, you're wasting your time. I keep telling people that. If all you do is vote, you're wasting your time. If you can't get at least 50 million people in the streets with what's happening right now, then you are not doing it right. We need a minimum of 50 million people in the streets. That's when we know that you're serious. Until then, you're playing games, right? And then you got the progressive media talking about, oh, these Democrats, I wish they would watch this video and learn from me about what they really need to do. They don't understand. They don't know how to win elections. What are you talking about? They've been winning elections for decades. Joe Biden, 50 years. He won for 50 years. And he even made it to the presidency in the end of that long career. Tell me Joe Biden didn't know what he's doing. Tell me Joe Biden's a fool. Tell me he doesn't know how to do what he wants to do, which is to win, win, win. That's all he does. All Joe Biden does is win, win, win. How long has he been in office? 50 years. Do you know anyone? Anyone? Think about the most successful person you know. Have they been doing their job for 50 years? Right now, if you can last 3 years at a job, you're good. I got friends that have been in their job for 10 years, but that's because they work for these foreign companies. And I always be like, man, I'm so envious, man. These Democrats are in office for decades, making $170,000 a year. They have millions of net worth, but yet progressive media wants to talk about they don't know what they're doing? Come on, man. Get out of here with that bullshit. Who else we got? Rockefeller, 30 years, $100 million. Jared Polis, governor, $200 million, 15 years. Joe Manchin, 15 years, $7 to $12 million. Tell me he don't know what he's doing. Joe Manchin's a dummy. He doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know how to win. He's been winning for 15 years. He won himself the $12 million. How much millions of dollar net worth do you have? I'll wait. Who else? Final guy on the list, Dick Durbin. Senator Dick Durbin, $10 million, 30 years. 30 years, 3 decades. Tell me they don't know what they're doing. Explain that to me. Let me take a look at the comment section right now. I see someone said something. GR said something. GR said, power back to the people, citizens, insider trading. We're being ripped off with politics. Yep, 100%. Payouts from the lobbyists. Even their children are rich. Yep. But listen, let humanists tell it. Oh, they're so dumb, these Democrats, man. They don't understand how to win. Like, what the hell are you talking about, man? Listen, man. I'm gonna be the one to tell you the truth, right? Because I don't make money doing this. It's not my plan to do this as a business or a career, or I'm trying to be famous, or I'm trying to get attention. I'm trying to wake people up and get people to know the truth. Like these goddamn flies need to stop being up on my legs. Anyway, so I could coddle you and blame everybody else, right? It's the politicians' fault. It's, this country's fault. We don't have a democracy. That's another stupid thing these progressives tell you, progressive media. We don't have a real democracy. This is not a democracy. How is this not a democracy? If 2% more people showed up in the last election, Donald Trump would have lost. The people had the power to stop Donald Trump, but the people chose not to. Now, many of you chose otherwise. You didn't want Trump to win, and you did your part. At least you voted against him. But that's not the way democracy works. The way democracy works is majority, right? We needed to have more of you to vote to get this guy out of office. But you didn't, right? And that is democracy. The fact that Trump is president right now is democracy working as intended. Now, I got to add a nuance to that. Propaganda, I don't think, is fully accounted for from the founding fathers from so long ago. Because, yes, the idea is that majority rules. More people vote for one candidate, that candidate wins, that candidate is representative of the voters, right? And if they're not, they get voted out. So that's their incentive to listen to the voters, because they want to stay in power. They don't want to be voted out. That's the way it's supposed to work. However, the decision to vote is influenced by what you believe, and what you believe can be controlled by propaganda. So, I don't know what's the best way to describe it, because in that essence, democracy is working because the majority vote, is controlling. The people decided who is going to rule. The people decided how this country is going to go. But the problem is, I guess you could look at it from a perspective of the people being damaged. It's not democracy. I mean, Trump is working on actually destroying democracy now. But the fact that he got elected is not democracy itself failing. What failed is us. The people have been broken, right? So it's kind of like, I don't know what's the best way I could describe it. It's like, you're walking down a bicycle path, right? On one side there's a button that you push for one outcome. On the other side there's another button you push for another outcome. And when you run up to these buttons, somebody is secretly blowing the strong wind that pushes you over to the other side. As you swing your arm to push the right side button, it pushes you to the other side, and you push the other button. Now, technically, the system is working because the button that you pressed, you got the result of that. The only thing is that you were tricked into pressing the wrong button. So it's kind of, I don't know if it's like semantics, right? It's like the buttons are the democracy. Democracy, allows you to choose what you want. Choose your path. Push the right button or the left button. The buttons work perfectly fine. If you push the one on the right, you're going to get the right one result. However, somebody pushed you over to the other side and make you push the wrong one, right? And then when you get the result of the left side, then you say, these buttons don't work. The buttons work, right? Your vote works in this country. However, it's like, I guess democracy needs a friend. Right, democracy, that system that allows you to have your representation in government and have, the things that you want pushed for in government, is reliant on the people knowing the truth, right? So you can manipulate people into voting against their own interests, but that's not really democracy not working, right? Because people are getting what they voted for, right? People went to the last election, and they said, We want what do you call it? Deportations, right? We want to end this woke stuff. We want trans swimmers out, whatever, whatever. That's what they voted for, and that's what they're getting, right? Well, not really. I mean, it's not really a mass deportation, but he's pushing hard on that, and that's what the people that voted, that's what they wanted. Now, much more people didn't want that, but enough of them didn't actually vote. So the reason that we got what we got is because of what we the people did. We did this, right? When Donald Trump was out of office after his first term, we chose not to push aggressively to make sure that in the future, what happened on January 6th doesn't happen again. They did a nice hearing and all this kind of stuff, and they exposed what happened, and they did a really good job with that. But that was nice TV, right? But what legislation? The Democrats were in power, right? What legislation did they do to prevent that from happening again? What legislation did they do to prevent somebody like Trump from being elected again? So we sat back and we saw this. We saw this sort of limitation with our system, and we didn't fix it. We didn't plug it. We saw the dangers, what Trump got elected the last time, and there wasn't enough of a push to prevent it from happening again. So we got Trump again. And the thing is, we didn't even have to do that because, again, if enough people voted, he wouldn't be elected right now. We would have Kamala Harris. But then again, like I said, the problem is really us. It's not the politicians. It matters less about who is in power than it does who the people are, right? We could have Republicans in power and be getting, well, we do have Republicans in power. Even with Trump winning, I mean, Trump's kind of a wild card, so let me throw him out of there. Even with the Republicans winning, let's say with some other Republican president, we could actually get better results than we had with Democrats if we had better people, right? We the people, right? If we had people that understand that voting alone is useless, that's the first step. You vote with demands, you vote with threats, you tell them, listen, this is what we want, and if you don't deliver, we're gonna vote you out. You need to vote with a level of hostility, which we don't do. We just, somebody says what we want to hear, and we're like, yeah, that's what we want. And everybody gets excited, and then we vote, and then we go home, and then we give that person a blank check, right? We just act like they're Jesus, right? Or we just supposed to trust what they say? Like Joe Biden runs on a bunch of stuff. I'm going to raise wages or whatever it is, and you're like, great. And then you go home and you just think Joe Biden is Jesus and he's going to do that. That's not how it works. But that's what we would have done. If Kamala won, all the people making all this noise right now would be sipping coffee, sipping tea, relaxed, focused on their lives. Great, we got rid of the orange giant. And then Kamala would just be skating by, doing the bare minimum. And while she's doing that, and people are suffering, people don't have health care, people can't afford to pay their rent, and they're frustrated, then these Republicans come in and say, this is wrong, and the Democrat policies, blah, blah, blah. And then after 4 years of Kamala dragging her feet, because we, the people, allow her to do that, then we have a lunatic Republican come back in office and break things even further. We are the ones to blame, right? If I am a YouTuber trying to make content and trying to make money, I will tell you what you want to hear. It's not your fault. It's the politicians. It's the system. Well, democracy is broken and this and that and whatever. And voting doesn't matter and da-da-da-da. Right? Come back and watch my videos more. Click on the like button and donate to my Patreon. Yeah, man. It sucks, man. But don't worry. You don't do nothing. You don't worry about it, man. I'm going to fight for you by making a bunch of videos saying Trump sucks. Look what Trump did. And democracy is dying and this and that. And oh, these Dems, they don't get it. And Dems, they don't know how to win. Right? Keep coming back and I'm going to keep giving you that stuff that you love. Ooh, Trump got the news that he's been dreading. Right? Keep coming back and watching my videos talking about, oh, this and that. But you don't do nothing. It's not about you. Right? You don't. All you got to do is show up and vote. And then these people, because they're not just normal people that are self-interested, because, you know, they're like saints. right? They're imagine that these politicians are all Jesus, right? The Democratic Party, they're all Jesus, right? So if they say that they are gonna fight for inequality, against inequality, then of course they're gonna do it. So all you gotta do is show up and vote, and then you can go drink your tea, right? And then I'm gonna fight for you by making a bunch of videos. Oh, breaking! Trump does something crazy, right? That's the reality, man. All right, so I'm gonna end this live stream really quick. The Electoral College determines the president, not the popular vote. The Electoral College determines the president, not the popular vote. That might be a semantics argument because, let's say, for example, I'm making an extreme example to make the point very clear. If 80% of the people vote for your candidate, then your candidate is guaranteed to be president. If 80% of the people vote for your candidate, then your candidate is guaranteed to win, right? So yes, if you think about it on a simplistic way, then yes, you got to get the electoral votes, right? But if your candidate is popular enough, then necessarily they're going to get the electoral votes because they're popular, right? If you get so many people voting for you, then why would you not be able to get the electoral votes as well, right? Because electoral, that whole system is, it is a system where you can not get the most votes and win, which I think is what happened with Trump. I think the first term, I think Hillary Clinton got the popular vote and he still won. So it is a way that you can kind of cheat. And it's not really cheating, but it is a way that you can be a person that didn't get the popular vote, but you still won. However, if you are popular enough to a point, you're going to win. You're going to get the Electoral College vote, right? But you need to breach a certain threshold, which obviously Clinton did not, right? If Clinton was probably even 10% more popular than she would have gotten the electoral vote, right? So I know it's kind of like a semantics argument. I get what you're saying, so I wouldn't say that you're wrong in what you're saying, but ultimately, if an overwhelming majority of the people support your candidate, they're going to win. The Electoral College is not going to stop that, right? It's just I don't see mathematically how that can happen. If you have 60% of the vote, how do you end up losing? I don't even know. Do you know what were the margins with Clinton versus versus Trump? I'll presume it wasn't that far off. So she could have won based on being popular enough, but she didn't go far enough. She was close, but not far enough. Because I would assume that some of those Electoral College votes were probably really close. So if she was a little bit more popular, then she would have gotten more of those Electoral College votes and she would have won. So I don't know what's the best way to describe it, man. But it's like, I think, again, Electoral College might be in some ways like a cheat code in some ways, right? So it's kind of like in a video game, right? So it's like I don't have enough power to get through this level, but I get this power-up thing, and with that power-up thing, I could actually get the benefit of having more power than I actually did, right? It's kind of like you get this little boost. So I don't have enough popular votes, but I was able to pull off enough electoral votes and I can skate through with that, right? But that's kind of, to me, that's more of an outlier. I would guess that in most cases, whoever has a significant majority is going to win because they're going to get enough electoral votes, right? But I guess it is accurate to say that simply having the popular vote alone is not enough for you to win the election. It's a matter of degrees. All right, guys. This is the Debate Channel. Debate in the comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Be well. Remember, voting alone is wasting your time. Voting absolutely does work. And anyone who's questioning that, I don't know what you're looking at. The conservatives wanted to get rid of trans swimmers and whatever, and they wanted to see mass deportations. And how did they get it? They voted, right? More of them showed up and they got their guy. Think about that. That's actually a testament of how powerful our democracy is. That somebody could be so unpopular, so unhinged. I mean, a guy with such mental issues, lunatic, corrupt, a felon. But if enough of the people want that person to be the president, they can make it so. Right? That is the power of democracy. If they could get a lunatic like Trump in office just by voting enough, imagine what you guys could do. Right? If enough of you showed up for the right candidate, and again, I don't think you should focus on the candidate as much, right? Because here, I'm gonna leave you on this note. Hang on one second. When I say the candidate doesn't matter that much, this is what I mean. All these politicians care about is power and money, right? That's all they care about, power and money. Where do they get the power and money from? They get it from us, right? In order for them to get access to the power and money, they need to win elections. In order to win elections, they need us to vote for them, right? So if we, enough of us, I should say, withhold our votes, they have no other choice but to listen to us and to actually take action in terms of what we're looking for. For example, there were people who withheld their vote against Kamala, but their numbers were not high enough. That's the thing. It's not just a matter of doing something. Like people say, oh, protesting. Like, Build Back Better, I think there was a few dozen people that protested that, and you see that didn't work, right? A few dozen people protested Build Back Better. I mean, it's almost like you're wasting your time, right? There were a lot of people that were protesting against Kamala based on what was happening in Israel, but their numbers were not high enough that they were enough of a risk to, or at least perceived risk, right? Because some would say maybe they were enough of a risk because, hey, they lost. In theory, they lost, right? Meanwhile, like I said, my whole point of this video, they didn't really lose. AOC is still in power. All the key Democrats, they still got their job. They're still making money. But still, you might say that they lost. But the point is that I think you not only have to be an actual credible threat to these politicians, you need to also give that perception, right? Because it doesn't matter if you're a credible threat to me as a politician if I don't think you are, right? Some of these politicians are arrogant, right? If I'm arrogant and I see people protesting, oh, we're not going to vote for you, Kamala, because of Gaza, whatever, and then I look at the numbers and I just feel like, nah, man, these are like a minority, and the normal liberal voters or whatever, they're going to come out, because look at Trump. They don't want Trump. Like, they're so afraid of Trump. Even these people saying that they're not going to vote for me, a lot of them are probably going to vote for me, right? But let's just say, let me make it very clear. If that movement of withholding their vote because of Israel, if it was 10 million people, right? 20 million people saying we're not going to vote for the Democratic Party unless they stop what's happening in Israel, I can almost guarantee you would have seen a major change in our policy. And that is significant because you see how this is like a bipartisan thing. But what are they going to do? They're not, if that many people were saying that they're not going to vote based on what's happening in Israel, now you're actually threatening their power. Now you're not talking about simply Kamala might not win. You're talking about AOC might lose her next election, or some other key Democrat might lose. I mean, if 20 million Democratic voters are sitting and fighting back and saying, listen, we're not going to vote for you, and they seem serious enough, the Democratic Party has no choice. They have no choice but to listen to them and take action and try to get them to calm down, right? But if your numbers are not big enough, they can ignore you. And that's what happened in the last election, right? But ultimately, you have the power. We have the most power. Focus less on who is in office and focus more on what we do. We are the ones, like Trump says, he says we hold all the cards. We the people hold all the cards, right? None of these politicians can keep their jobs without us, right? But you making a little bit noise on social media and making your little threats or whatever, it doesn't really matter unless you have enough numbers, because these politicians know that once you're not breaching a certain threshold, you're not a risk to them, right? And that's all they respond to is money and power. You threaten their money and power, then they will listen. Until then, most of what you say doesn't matter beyond them changing their rhetoric to make it sound like they agree, right? That is the value of your rhetoric if you're not in sufficient numbers. Your rhetoric is only sort of inspiration for their rhetoric to pander to you, right? But when your numbers get large enough, that's when things get serious. That's when it's like, okay, and this is not like me just like speculating. We've seen this in the past, right? In the past, we've had major change in this country that came from numbers. When the numbers were large enough to make a serious, credible threat to the establishment, that is the moment when things change. Until then, you get crumbs, and you will always get crumbs. Worry less about Democrats, Republicans, AOC versus Pelosi. All of them need us to get what they need and what they care about: money and power. This is the Debate Me channel. Debate Me in the comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Be well.